Hello, sweet souls. This is DTO in the flow. And I want you to know that today I get to interview an extraordinary yogi, Ben Hicks, and he is a holistic health practitioner. He graduated from the Natural Healing Institute of Naturopathy in Encinitas in 2008, which included his 200-hour yoga teacher and yoga and body movement therapy certifications, which everything's connected, right? Mind, body, spirit. So he's taught in California since 2008, and he created a whole spectrum of what all the modalities of yoga are into his programs that he now resides in Lake Havasu, where he moved there in 2010. A little backstory, I'm currently in Oceanside, and Ben used to live in these parts of my neighborhood. So we have a lot of shared experiences in that space. And of course, we're a part of the global yoga community, which is really powerful for anyone out there that is watching right now that practices yoga. And so he's offering not only daily classes, but monthly workshops and meetups that support the yoga and natural lifestyle community. Ben continued his yoga education in India. He completed a 300-hour program and later upgraded to the 500-hour and started a yoga teacher training program teaching traditional Hatha yoga in 2015. Ben is a licensed, insured yoga instructor, registered with Yoga Alliance, and has over 6,000 hours of teaching experience. Ben Hicks Yoga is a RYS 200-hour registered school of yoga, as well as a YCEP with ongoing classes and continuing education. In addition to teaching yoga, Ben practices wellness modalities including energy work, integrative massage therapy, herbal medicine, nutritional counseling, and private yoga instruction. Certifications include movement therapist with his 500 hours, and LMT license in Arizona as well as California, as well as a holistic health practitioner from the Natural Healing Institute of Naturopathy. And wow, just very well qualified in so many areas. And in addition to that, extraordinary. He has his Reiki masters, and he also has the NCB TMB educational provider. And he does sports massage, which I know a lot of us are missing massages since we are in this COVID-19 time in human history. Thai massage, which is amazing. Deep tissue massage, ginseng, Jinshin Jitsu, craniosacral therapy, cupping, reflexology, Tai Chi, and Qigong. And a phenomenal quote from Ben is, "My goal is to enhance the lives of others through education, positive experiences, and by adding value to other people's lives." Without further ado, let's bring on Ben Hicks live from Lake Havasu. How are you, Ben?
Doing great. Nice to
Wow,
be here.
totally. You have an extraordinary
Thank you.
multitude of chapters of your life. Like, that's impressive when I was going through your bio.
Yeah, once I got in, it all started real small because I was inspired as a kid by my aunt, who was a reflexologist in Kentucky. And that's what she did for a living. And she'd always be dropping in the latest thing as far as alternative health. And, it just stuck in my head. And then once I embarked on that journey, started taking some education, it just kind of flooded out.
That's amazing. That's extraordinary.
Kept going.
Wonderful. Yeah. And this is, what's powerful is anyone that's watching right now, we are live streaming on 4 different platforms. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. And if anyone out there has any questions for Ben or myself, then feel free to write those in the comments and we will share those on the screen. So again, comment, ask a question, and share. And we'd love to know where you're located. I'm in California, Ben's in Arizona, and comment with your favorite emoji. Let's say you have maybe the namaste hands or a particular yoga pose. Now they have like yoga people emojis as well. It's kind of fun. So let's kick off the 5-question interview with question number 1, which is, tell us about your personal journey with yoga and why is it important to you? Take us back.
Okay, the personal journey with yoga. Okay, so I was in San Diego and I was working for FedEx. It was a job that I took on. And right when I took that job, I got injured. And I'd never been injured before. They sent me to physical therapy, and the guy said, you got to work on your core. You got to build up your core strength. And I joined the gym, which was LA Fitness, and they had yoga. And I was like, well, now I have no excuse. I got to try it. When I left, my back pain was gone. So I'd go to yoga every day, 3 times a week, sometimes 4, whenever I could. And I was hooked because it's the one thing that made me feel good. So it became part of my wellness routine to get through the week, really. And I became into the aspect of how it made you feel. It's kind of the gateway drug to feeling good. And the habits that I had, which were caffeine, being I'd call it quasi-vegetarian, I was able to become completely vegetarian, get off all the Cokes, the sodas, the things like that without turning back. And as I felt better, my diet got better, my attitude got better, and even people around me noticed a difference. And so just dealing with everything got better. And so, like I said, it just got more and more important to my life to where it became an integral part of it.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and I feel like you going to India, would you like to share with anyone that I know a lot of yoga instructors that teach in the West have dreamt and are possibly reflecting on their own personal experiences of India. I personally haven't been, and of course, Himalaya her family's from India. So what's it like in India, and like, what are your takeaways when you came home? Like, what kind of experiences?
Okay, so when I was getting ready to upgrade to the 500 or do the 300-hour class, so you go 200 and then you get the 300, I looked around at all these schools and I kept going back to India and thinking, I'm interested in traditional yoga. Traditional is the hatha yoga before maybe Ashtanga, all the Krishnamacharya would be the guy, and before. And so I wanted to just focus on that. And everywhere I looked, there was little offshoots of this, little bit of a personal take on the yoga practice or different schools. And so I thought, well, I got to go with the source, right? So actually I went, got my tickets, got everything ready to go. And the school didn't mention that you had to have a visa. So I went, got to LAX, got to the gate, and they said, no, you need a visa. And so I got rejected the first time. And so I called the school and told them I'm not going to make it. He said, well, just come next month. We got another program. And so I scrambled that month, got my visa, and got my visa like 2 days before I was supposed to take off. And got to India, and it was just the takeaways, everything kind of changed. India has its own kind of feel. I thought it felt like I was in Mexico, and I had a familiar feel with India. And it was an ashram. We were there for 6 weeks, and it was yoga every morning, meditation. It's actually meditation at 6, yoga, break, schoolwork, yoga, schoolwork, and then yoga. And then
rinse, wash, repeat, right?
Yeah. So it was 6 days, 1 day off for 6 weeks, which I loved it. Couldn't get enough. All the classes were 2 hours. So it kind of geared us up to teaching and to doing yoga, really conditioned. And then the diet was Sattvic diet. So it was all vegetarian. It was all the dal, the beans, the traditional food. And that also kind of transformed a little bit, I think, had an effect, being away from all the Western food, diet, things like that. And then the people, I was in a space, there was a little studio, and I was with the Tibetan monks. And so every night I would go back to my little space, and I would talk to the the Thai monks, I should say, not the Tibet monks. But we were in, it was McLeod Ganj, and that's where the Dalai Lama has his temple. So we were kind of right there, and I felt like that in itself, being around that energy and that history, was also had an interesting effect on me, to where I really felt at home, at peace. Now, interesting enough, when I got to India, I was not going to teach again. So I did not plan on teaching. And so I went through the program. Towards the end, everybody's like, "Well, you have to teach." I said, "Nah, I'm just doing this for me. I'm just going to get the experience, grow, and work on myself." So, no, you have something to offer. You need to share it. And that was the message I came home with. And so I was like, well, so when I got back, I opened this studio, and that's kind of been my motto. It's like, surrender and share, and then do your best.
Absolutely. I love that. And that's what it's about, like being of service. And as you know, and a lot of people in the West may have heard this word, but you know it really well, is dharma. Like, what's your purpose? What are you here to, as your soul, to express? And how are you able to, which I can be a witness of this, electromagnetically create a community of people? And with your annual yoga festival, with your studio, with all of the live streaming opportunities and events, and also you're a musician as well. You play the guitar. So you have a lot of awesome skill sets that I know, as including myself, are impressed by. And that dharma, which for you, even though you sounds like you were resistant of that at first, whether you thought you were resistant or not, it was just maybe a blind spot, right? You're like, I'm just going to deepen my practice, and then all of a sudden you get into my second question, which is, so what inspired you to teach? Was there an aha moment? Was there like, wow, someone told me, hey, this is what your path is, Ben, like step up?
Yeah, there was right at the beginning when I started yoga, I had the interest in like a sustainable lifestyle, or what can I do for the rest of my life? And what's a way to train and create health, long term, without really, having a short span. Like, I could only ride a skateboard for so long, I can only do certain things for so long. I could be a marathon runner, but they have a way of beating you up a little bit. And I thought, well, yoga just enhances. And I got this impression I could do yoga forever. So I'm going to focus on this. And that was where it was my personal journey. I just wanted to learn. I wanted to enhance my knowledge. And all the stuff that I heard about, I really wanted to know about and understand it, have an understanding. And then when it came to teaching, I thought, well, I could teach maybe, when I retire. It'd be something to do on the weekend. Maybe that'd be fun. And that's how I thought about it. So when I went to school for the holistic health in Encinitas, their program opened up. It was the first program at the school, and I was all over it. I was like, I got to do that. And it combined itself with the movement therapist. That's where all the Asian martial arts and stuff came in too, and the Thai massage. And so I was loving it. I was in heaven, really. And still, after I went through the program, it was 2 years before I actually taught at a facility. And in California, it's a little different because it's so saturated. It's not easy just to jump into a studio or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I taught on my own. I taught friends. I taught at the beach, things like that, until I got a job. I got hired by my first yoga instructor. So the gal that taught the class that got me hooked on yoga was the one that hired me at my first teaching gig. Yeah, and so I thought that was pretty cool. And still, it was like once a week. But then it kind of, I think you have to have a tendency, and you would know this better than most as a teacher. You
Yeah.
kind of have this something in you wants to share or wants to teach, and is maybe lends yourself towards that. And I think I've always kind of been that way. When before I went to FedEx, I was ocean lifeguard, and then I taught swim lessons, and I taught beach camps and surfing. And so having that, loving to share with stuff that you love, you want other people to experience, and you want to share that love,
Totally.
joy.
And yeah, here's a great photo of you looking over at the water.
Yeah.
Do you remember where this photo is?
This is at the river, the Colorado River down in Parker.
Oh, beautiful. Wow.
Yeah.
So you've always been connected to water is your swimming coach and lifeguard, all of that. Wow.
Yeah. Always been in the waters.
Before yoga, you were in the flow, right?
I think so. I think there was something there.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, as you mentioned martial arts, and one of the famous quotes that Bruce Lee was saying, like, be like water, right? Like the water becomes the teapot. So you like to be in the flow, as I say in yoga, to be malleable, to be flexible. And wow, that's for me. And I share this with you, is the person that introduced me to yoga. Her name is Dr. Tara Peterson. She's just been a lifelong extraordinary soul sister, and it sounds like you have that same journey. The person that introduced you gave you that opportunity to teach at your first class. And were you pretty nervous the first time? I think every teacher out there probably knows this, including me. The first day I was in a high school setting teaching, I was like, wait a minute, I'm in charge of these 30 plus people. Okay.
Wow. Yeah, I think I showed up, and it was 21 people. And then I remember sitting there, and people kept coming in.
Nice.
And see, I was taking over for somebody who was on pregnancy leave or maternity leave, and so they didn't know I was going to be there. And so I was like, oh my goodness! And I'm doing a head count, and I just was like, here goes nothing. Yeah. And then I did that for 2 years or 1 year, something, at that spot. And I just you know what? It felt good. It felt natural, and I never had any kind of qualms. I looked forward to it, and made me feel good. So I loved the reaction. But yeah, that first night I was kind of like, I don't know. Just, here I am.
Yeah, and I've done my teacher training. I've done my 200 hours, and for me as well, it was this moment where it's like, okay, we did one of the round robins where I taught like the first 15 minutes of the class, and the second teacher did the next 15, and then I designed the playlist, of course, which was a added bonus. And it's really powerful to step into that discomfort. And it kind of sounds, I love this theme too around persistence, where you were excited you were going to go to India, then all of a sudden you weren't able to go. I need a visa. And besides, you could have given up, but it could have said like, oh, the universe says I'm not supposed to go, or whatever like that. You're like, no, this is my path. This is my dharma. It could be a test, but guess what? I'm going to pass this test. I'm going to crush it, and you're going to make it happen. And and this is here on the screen. You can see this is your beautiful logo, Ben Hicks Yoga. And so now, after you were in California, moved to Arizona. And then at that point, you open your own studio. And this gets into my third question, which is, so what makes your classes, your workshops, your festivals, what makes all of this unique? Like, what is the Ben Hicks Yoga brand all about? And if you can't answer it necessarily, think of like the praise that you've got from other people. Like, what do they say when they experience the energy of you and your studio and all the teachers?
Okay. So every class I do is, I'll kind of go back. Before I started teaching, I was looking into finding a school and getting into yoga. I was in Encinitas by Swami's, or the Self-Realization Center. There used to be a bookstore there, and I went in. I think they moved the bookstore.
Yeah, I remember it was there. Yeah.
It was back in there. Yeah. I moved there in 98, 97, okay. 98. I moved to San Diego. And so I talked to the lady there, and she's like, you can't take a yoga teacher training until you've got a year of home practice under your belt. Take this book. And so I took the book, and I'm like, it was it was a self-realization type book, and it was Goswami Yogananda. It was Kriya Yoga. And so I went end to end with that book and developed a home practice. And so a lot of what I do is based on that first 2 years of me doing home practice before I took the yoga teacher training. And when I started teaching and opened up a studio, I told myself, well, I'm teaching all the classes. I'm teaching 23 classes a week. People are going to get really tired of me every class, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I got to be a different person every class. And so I tried to, and I didn't even try, it came natural to just teach never teach the same thing over. Mm-hmm. And so I looked at the broad picture. Okay, if I have everybody in the class, I want everybody to be on this long-term goal, working and chipping away at the yoga physical transformation. And so it takes time, it takes years and years, right? We don't know how long, and we just keep practicing. And so if I told somebody who would come to this studio, and I have some people that come in from California and the visitors from Canada and different areas, and they would say, there's no two classes alike. You can go to the same day. You can go Thursday at 9, but it's not going to be the same as Thursday at 9 last week. It'll be the same theme, but I'm not going to do the same thing.
Yeah. And Julie agrees with you. Look at what she just wrote here for us. Every class is different. There she is. And here she is. Where this is the cool part about live streaming. And thank you for being you. Ben, we're so incredibly blessed to have your presence in our lives. Oh, that's such a, when I said earlier, what are people saying and what kind of praise, it just pops on our screen, right?
Yeah. So, that would be the one thing. And then the style or the theme of this studio is Hatha yoga, or traditional Hatha yoga. So I try to resist anything outside that. The contemporary, I try to go back because I feel like in my lifetime, I'm not going to even be able to regurgitate or get that. So I'm satisfied just staying humble and just working on that, and then work towards that goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And so one thing we're going to bring up is, of course, if you're watching this in 2030 or 2040, we're living in the coronavirus COVID-19 times of human history. And so you have a brick and mortar. And what does it feel like? And tell us like how that is all of a sudden having this routine, this path, this, the members and your students that come in on a regular basis. Like, so what has this transition been like for you to go from a physical studio to teaching online?
It's been great. I got to say, it's been great.
That's awesome.
I loved it. And it happened so fast. And because I say it's great because I've always talked about doing it. I've always talked about getting videos or recording for people and sharing that way for the people who leave in the summertime. A lot of people leave and they wait till next winter or fall to come back. And so what this was is really like a move or a push in that direction. And sometimes that's what it takes just to do it. And so it kind of forced me. Julie is one of the school teachers, and she's very well versed with Zoom. And I think her or somebody else mentioned Zoom. Within a week, I had Zoom, and everybody was online taking the classes. So it seemed to go smooth. And having done this, I've been able to record, share videos that way with people who can't be here. And I want to continue doing it and add it to the program once we do come back with the brick and mortar.
Yeah, so anyone that visits Arizona or happens to live in Lake Havasu, You can see here on the map where Ben Hicks Yoga is located. And even though it says temporarily closed, there is a whole online streaming offer that Ben is offering on a consistent basis. And, it's interesting because, oh, by the way, was this the book that you got and read?
You know what? That's one of them.
One of them?
The other one is, I think
The Autobiography of a Yogi? Is it that one?
That's the Autobiography of Yogi, and then that one. And so his student, I think it's Goswami Kriyananda, if you're looking up for the author, and he's I don't know if he's still alive, but it's Kriya Yoga, and it's based on the Paramahansa Yogananda's teacher. It's dedicated to him, and
that's beautiful.
It's a really interesting book. It's about that thick, 2 inches thick. It's all hand-drawn pictures of guys doing yoga poses and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah,
that's the thing. This is an ancient practice for modern day insanity, and there's a lot of that happening. And I love a part of your story which I can relate to. I'm going to show everyone a before and after photo because a couple men talking about eating vegetables for certain people are like, what's that all about? So I've fully been plant powered for 15 years, and you can see my physical transformation. And it sounds like you also experienced something similar, not only in the physical, but the mind and the, all of it that just starts to lighten up. And that's what yoga's for, right? Is to lead us to the light. And so if we're not eating heavy, dense, processed foods, it's this whole other experience and this is the, one of the branches of yoga, right? It talks about ahimsa and doing, nonviolence to yourself and to others. Yeah, it's really important.
Yeah, it is. And when you mention the foods, and you hear a lot of the plant-based diet more and more. And if you think about living cells, what communicate dead food versus living food, things like that, and it makes sense. And what we resonate with is things that resonate with us and our DNA communicating with plants and working together. When you eat something that doesn't communicate and mutates versus something that does communicate and enhances. And I think I look at food like that, for instance.
Yeah, and absolutely. If you think of it, like one of the biggest concerns that most human beings have on the planet right now is their immune system. So one of the ways to boost your immunity system is to have bioavailable phytonutrients that go directly into your bloodstream. That's going to empower you, just like Popeye and spinach, or you're going to feel alive and awake and have the energy because, certain scientists and people are predicting that at some point, everyone will get this virus, right? Like it's going to come back around like the winter flu, or this virus will be a part of that. So, of course, we don't know, but why not be prepared? And I feel like the same as with your yoga practice is you may as well be prepared because you don't know. And once you get the information, then, as the China study, there's so many case studies about nutritional science. And from there, you get to have that choice. And, I'm a kid that's from Iowa. I was raised on like the standard American diet. So I'm like the last poster boy that whatever you would believe be speaking about being plant powered. And when I go to my class reunions and my buddies see me back home in Iowa, they're like, what are you doing out in California? What's happening out there? I'm like yoga and, eating like vegan foods and being outdoors. And so I feel like what you're creating in Arizona as well is this lifestyle choice that people get to have. And you're calling in people to generate that. And so in addition to the lifestyle, I want to jump into question 4 because I feel like music is an essential ingredient. And even the throat chakra, which for anyone out there that doesn't know heard the term throat chakra, it's just basically your throat. And that sounds are one of the most powerful vibrations, right? Because music can inspire us to do so many things. Like you hear a song in middle school at a school dance and you're like, oh, I want to ask that girl to dance, right? That's an inspiration. Or AC/DC, You Shook Me All Night Long comes on, you and your buddies just want to dance and have fun, right? And then you're in a yoga class and all of a sudden there's this uplifting, inspirational style of music that gets your heart and your just concentration, your drishti, right? So how do you integrate music? And for you, you see it differently. You get to see both sides because you're a musician.
Right. So I've done both sides. I've played, every once in a while I'll play in class. and I'll play music in class. And, going back a little bit, like in surfing, when I lived in California, my friends would surf a spot and they'd surf a certain kind of board. And I thought, yeah, you get really good at that. And that's good experience. It's fun. So I would always surf a different spot and more than likely surf with a different board. And it would change the experience. So when I play music, what I like about music is I don't like to think too much about it. I like random. I'll shuffle a playlist and I react to the music. And it enhances that for me, especially since I'm trying to teach different every time. It will change the flow, change the cadence, the tempo, the energy, affect the crowd, the students. And then just like live music has that too. When you hear it, and the vibration affects like your chakras, the endocrine system, your breathing, and your concentration. It takes you deeper, I think. When you played last 2 weeks ago, I felt like I was at a festival.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was transformed. I was curious if anybody else felt that. But I was like, man, I feel like I'm out in Joshua Tree or something.
Right, totally. Well, I want to show everyone what you're speaking about is, and this actually is a perfect segue into question number 5, is what are you offering online and what kind of classes and how have you, made this shift and pivoting into this? And as you were saying, like you and I are collaborating. I got to play at your annual festival in person, and which was amazing. And then now we get to keep this collaborative spirit alive. And everyone's right here live streaming, right? This is reality in this moment, right? YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. And so when we get to create this collaboration, as you said, you bring kind of that festival energy, and there's a whole other experience that yogis get to have on their mat. And so we're doing this twice a month, and we're going to be doing this also in May. So anyone watching, I'm going to put Ben's website below, so you want to stay posted on what that is. And so, yeah, I love how you are recognizing there's such a offering for your community in Lake Havasu, where all of the offerings, right? As you said, from the massage to the martial arts to this different styles of yoga to me as a live musician coming in. And you have different teachers, as you were mentioning, with Julie. Oh, Julie says it right here. He speaks the truth. There you go. Take a screenshot of that. Send it to all your friends and your family. You got evidence. Yeah, and then my friend Juliet, here she is saying thanks for this. And to hear a couple, Westerners talk about this ancient Eastern practice. It's such a transformational way to step into living. And I know that your life and your trajectory of where you've been wouldn't have been the same if you wouldn't have had that massive impact and that transformation with yoga.
No. And so, yeah, definitely not. Yeah, I can only imagine. But it's been a good journey. And the classes, the schedule, to your question there, I haven't changed a thing. I thought about it for a moment, doing the online schedule and changing the schedule. But what I did is I just kept the schedule the same. And I felt like for me, it helped me keep my routine. So during the COVID-19 and the kind of the shutdown, I've actually kept my schedule the same. I haven't changed it. So the classes that I teach are the same as well. So
that's wonderful. We'll give everyone opportunities to go below where it says benhicksyoga.com, or you can follow Ben on Instagram. And here's his website. And as he mentioned, here's the schedule. It's what you see is what you get, whether you're at the physical studio, online. And that's what's wonderful. And that's what I feel is a powerful way that you're leading people, Ben, is you're creating that container and that consistency and that accountability where we've all been there. We're like, what day is it? What month are we in? Oh, wait, Friday's already May. What's happening? Is it 2020? So I love how you're really creating this impact by having everyone go to the website and just check out what the programs are, right? And then as you sit right here, it talks about our live classes and the Thai massage and other things. I'm sure you'll be reopening that later, but nevertheless, the balanced yoga, the organic movement, the hip opener, the vinyasa flow, the core strength, heart of yoga. You have such, as you know, you already, we saw it earlier. I'll put it back on the screen where Julie said every class is different, and this has already proven it right here.
Yeah.
Where other studios have like, you know, yoga 101, yoga 102, then 101, one of the, you know, their basics 1 and 2s, where this is really amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
And the restorative classes are great as well, because some people, you know, everyone's home right now, so you might as well just be on your, you know, living room or bedroom floor and just stretch it out and make it happen.
It works great. Yeah, it really works. Yeah.
Excellent. Would you have any closing words for us? I really appreciate you speaking about your experiences with yoga and what you're up to for your community. And by the way, your community is expanded because it doesn't have to be people in Lake Havasu. It's anywhere in the world. People can jump in and take these live streaming classes. And I'm in California, Ben's in Arizona. And on the 30th, as well as forthcoming dates, there's opportunities for you to have these live yoga music experiences. So that's what I feel is really powerful. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great. I really invite everybody to try. If you're interested, checking it out, drop into a class. You can email me if you have questions. I will send you a link, and just to get you in the class. And it's a lot of fun. I really, actually, like I said, I really enjoying it. I know it's kind of a somber time, all this uncertainty going on, but the newness and the challenge, I really am embracing. So I look forward to the future, actually, too. And I think it's awesome. I hope everybody's well, and maybe make this part of, if you're not already, make it part of your life. I can't say enough good things about yoga. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're really delivering such an offering to everyone, not only yourself, but the instructors. And every instructor I've ever met for Ben Hicks Yoga is amazing. I met so many people when I was at the festival. And, you know, I love that you're committed to, even before this global pandemic happened, to have an online live streaming presence. So now you get to have a hybrid of your business model, which I feel is you get the best of both worlds. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Ben.
Thanks, Dave.
And thanks for everyone for being here that commented or watching this on the archive. Again, check out Ben Hicks Yoga. You can go to his website. You can go to his Instagram, follow there, and join us for the live yoga music classes. And you can see our flyer here. And all of this is available either at Ben Hicks Yoga. If you go to dtomusic.com, you can also find all that information and our awesome flyers. And I create playlists, and similar how Ben he creates these unique sequences every class. I do the same thing. A lot of times, I'll just, all of a sudden, whatever you're creating, Ben, I'll just be like, oh, I think this song will match the energy. And then, oh, this song will be good. And then I have a few Shavasana songs. I'm like, okay, which one? Oh, I think this is the best one for the vibes. So it's all about that. I recently, for some reason, these 3 things have come up for me. It's like connecting with people that have a shared purpose, a shared vision, and complementary skill sets. And I really love the complementary skill sets and our shared vision and passion out there. And thank you everyone for watching this. Keep on enjoying your day. And as Ben wished you as well, I trust you are safe and healthy, and keep on practicing because all is coming. Blessings.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste, brother.
Thank you.
You're welcome.